Alright. Hello, everybody. We are here with a Homestory Cup cast of one of the highlighted matches, which I never got around to watching, and people kept saying, watch it, it's a good one, Piggy. So, up here at the top left-hand side in the blue, representing Kaisi Gaming, it is Solar. And in the bottom right, in the red, his teammate, the one and only, the Terran whose form never really goes bad. His idea of a slump is only winning one championship in a year. It is Innovation. One of the most stable, solid, and well-rounded Terran players out there. His name is Innovation, and he is the least innovative, most machine-like automaton that we've ever seen in StarCraft 2. Thankfully, he plays Terran, a race which requires more on hand-eye coordination than actual functioning brain cells. So he is able to get by off of good execution, solid build orders, and not too much critical thinking. Or at least that's what people who detract from his results would say. They'd say when the balance is good for Terran, he does really well. Otherwise, he's solid, but he's nowhere near as good as a TY or someone. I say shame on you guys. Inno has evolved in the last few years. I do think he's a lot more predictable than anyone's really seen from him in the years before that. He used to just do the same opening over and over and over again. But he's much less predictable these days, Innovation. He's really much more of a dynamic player and definitely mixes things up a little bit. So to start just a Reaper opening, he's going to scout with a Barracks SCV and send the 19th SCV down right on time to drop that command center on 1 minute 40. Of course, Solar on the other side is one of the best Zerg vs. Terran players right now. I would say most of his problems in the matchup probably arise from proxy barracks recently and really nothing else. He's so damn good. But yeah, we'll have to see. Actually, wait, hold that thought. Has struggled a bit with mech in the last week before I've cast this game. Now that's an interesting thing that did actually happen for Solar. Did actually struggle with mech a little bit, but that's just because he hasn't played against it in such a long time. Mech has been out of vogue in Zerg vs. Terran for a very long time, and very much do not expect mech from Innovation. He'll mix it in against Terran. If like Eternal Empire came back into the map pool, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it against Protoss as well. But against Zerg, very unlikely. We don't see a second gas, so he's going to be doing the quick 3cc, really standard bio play here, and going into those quick starport and slightly delayed Hellions. So the Reaper's just going to have a little poke around. Nice conservative creep trim. Interesting that Solar, his third's out here, and yet he's already focusing the creep to the right. So looking to take this fourth base, and that's where he's going to focus his creep spread a little bit more, knowing that this third, a little bit easier to defend naturally. Also, of course, does keep that creep tumor safe away from the Reaper. And it looks like he's going to go straight for a second creep tumor in the near future as well. As that Reaper looking around, he'd love to get a tumor snipe. Now, where are those Zerglings? They're not actually guarding it. And this is, sometimes Solar gets a bit greedy here. Doesn't keep his Lings covering the creep tumors. But, hey, turns out some very good anticipation by Solar as he does push that Reaper back. Behind this, we do have, oh, that's the second factory. That's a second factory. Oh my god, he's doing a blue flame opening. Now, this is still not necessarily mech. Keep that in mind. Why? Because it's just a blue flame opening off 3cc. Lots of blue flame Hellions, potentially Hellbats. And sometimes, or basically every game I've seen this recently, I think I saw Beyond do it one game. I've seen a few others. They've usually gone into bio off the back of the 2 factory. And you can even very easily go into Drilling Claw Widowmine drops, of course, because you've already got the 2 factories. But usually you don't really do that straight away because your barracks are already so far behind. You're spending a lot of minerals on this. Now, Overlord speed is coming in for Solar. That's very fortunate because there are a few Marines patrolling on the edges, but as soon as that Overlord speed kicks in, the NOS kicks in for that Overlord. It's going to go in for a scout. At the same time, Reaper does jump up and actually gets taken out by those Zerglings. Overlord's going to come through. Solar, commit to the scout. Yes. He sees the double factory. He sees that blue flame. Let's go to Solar's camera. He's already dropped a Roach Warren at the front of the base. He's dropping 2 more gases on his natural and a lair. Solar realizing a wall off on the natural. Roaches, once he gets them, and Queens out front in the third is going to be what he's going to use to defend this. More gases, lair for Roach speed, so his Roaches are a bit more mobile as well. So really good preparation, realizing he's going to need a lot of D. And he's actually abandoning the third with his drones. A wise call by Solar, realizing, okay, right now, it's just do not give these guys an opening. They are absolute drone slayers. You do not want to give them that window. Now, Inno, I think, needs to swap that factory off and start building reactors and tech labs with it, because he has already committed to a ton of Hellions. It's been spotted. Yes, build tanks to defend a counterattack, but I think he's really got to get this barracks explosion going sooner rather than later, because now, yeah, Hellions come in. There's no way to get past that queen. There's only 2 drones on the 3rd base, and look at that, even build spore crawlers there. So Solar very nicely transfusing this queen, and Innovation says, well, I've caused you to not mine off your 3rd base. I did something. Oh, no, Solar. Oh my god, Solar, what the fudge, mate? No, not like this. Luckily, has some lings there, but of course, Blue Flame Aliens do mince those up pretty quickly. They toss them on the Barbie and fry them up. Extra well done drones, nice and crispy. This could have been worse, but still unnecessary damage when he'd already invested so much in lost mining time and so on. Losing 15 workers there, kind of crappy for Solar, who's now building lots of Zerglings. He's got 4 queens and an Overlord, and he's going to be doing a counter-attack. So it's a 4-queen Drop-a-Lord Ravager Ling attack. Now, how many tanks are out right now? 1 tank and 5 Marines. Yeah, I mean, dead? Dead man walking. Dead man walking. Right now, Percy from the Green Mile, an absolute piece of shit of a human being, is going along and announcing that Inno is dead. I mean, if he survives, that'll be miraculous. I like that he's pushing his tanks back a little bit. He needs to get rid of that overseer, and I think that tank should move back a little as well. But these tanks are kind of hard for Ravagers to get in range of. He's building multiple bunkers. If he can get those bunkers up and a few more Marines out, he might be good. He is building tanks 2 at a time, remember, as well, which is very powerful. And Solar is like, well, you know what? You haven't moved out to the 3rd. You've pulled your tanks back to safety. I guess I can't kill you. He stops building Zerglings, goes back to drones. Remember, he has 36 Lings behind this. But he's kind of just decided, it's way too high risk. I don't think I can crack in there. He does drop creep out front. Now, that's what I really like. People often talk about how if you are going to go take a shit out in the woods, you do need to like dig a proper hole and dispose of it correctly. Solar is a big fan of that. I mean, he's going to make sure he takes a shit in literally every single one of Innovation's potential houses and expansions. So this is actually a really nasty position for Inno to be in terms of re-expanding across the map, because look at that. Creep spreading everywhere. He's going to lose all of these depots. These 4 Ravagers getting some nice value. The tanks have now shuffled forward a little. They'd love to keep these depots alive. That creep's going to spread backwards and cause some trouble. The first starport is only just about to finish. So he gets 4 SCVs in return, gets up to 66 workers. His upgrades are, of course, far behind. His 4th base, pretty damn slow as well. But Innovation unable to mine off his 3rd. So as much as Solar lost a ton of mining time, is behind on the upgrades and the tech, he now says, you know what, emergency plan, Infestation Pet Hydroden. Let's take inspiration from Dark and go straight to Lurkers, Vipers off the back of this Roach Ravager. And it's very hard to kill a player who's massing Roach Ravager. Tanks are very good at defending Roach Ravager. They're good at setting up for a push, but you do need bio support. Just mass tank with only a handful of Marines isn't going to cut it. So Innovation doesn't really have a counterattack timing. He's very safe right now, but that's about all he is. And look at that poo. It spreads, it multiplies like bacteria. And this is indeed an annoyance. Oh, it does get rid of that tumor, which was very nice. So I think he's actually going to get rid of it. Inno, with just 3 scans, clears up all the creep. Oh, does get rid of that last one. Nicely done. The Marines come forward. He loses quite a few Marines here, but pulls one out of there. Meanwhile, a Ling drop in the main. The Zergling minivan says, kids, get out and fuck up those SCVs. Like a whole bunch of bogans let loose on someone who works in the supermarket. They're going to run out there and start attacking like wild. The Zergling's going ham right now. The SCV's pulling out. Even a Contaminate on the starport. Solar's doing a lot of things to keep Innovation busy. So very nice moves by Solar. Is this really worth it? These are all little cool bonus moves from Solar. The thing is, where's the creep behind it? It's not that far out yet, especially in the middle of the map. He does have gas mining on his 4th base, which is important. The Hive is finishing. The Lurker Den's just finished. 2 upgrades are on the way. So he's getting there, but he's still very low on gas. He spends it on 2 Vipers as well as the Lurker range upgrade, but that means there's no gas bank to actually make Lurkers at this moment in time. And in general, what you'll notice with a player like Dark or someone who's very, much focused on going to the Lurker stage, they really want to get 10 gases up. If they have to play 6 or 8 gases, they can, and they'll just play very efficiently and slow. But they would love to have a 5th base and both gas geysers on that 5th base up as soon as possible, because the more gas you have, the more Vipers you can replenish, the more Lurkers you can get out, and that's going to be very important. Inno does start a 4th command center, but he's only on 59 SCVs. So this is a very late 4th command center. Now, one of these things, when you're in one of what we call a kind of messed up game like this, because the 3rd base is so much later, your main, your natural are already mining out. So actually, I really would have loved to see Innovation squeeze a 4th command center in maybe a minute earlier than this. If he was already getting a 4th established, he'd be opening up areas for his SCVs to mine from. It would encourage him to be building more SCVs, which of course... Oh, hold position! Hold position, lurkers! Oh, hold fire, I should say, lurkers. And they kill all the Marines. Nice moves by Solar, setting up a trap. All fancy maneuvers. It's absolute bastardry from Solar, who's getting to that later stage. And I'm really worried for Inno now, because I do feel he's building a lot of tanks, and that's awesome. But the funny thing is, Vipers are so good that I actually wish he had more siege tanks, or more siege tank production, I should say. So just 2 factory tank isn't really going to cut it. Now, of course, he's going more tech labs first for extra Marauder and probably Ghost production. Most players do prefer Ghosts. I find that when things go right, Ghosts are very, very good, but... too many times they run out of energy. There's too many times they get caught. Siege tanks obviously have longer range, easily outranging lurkers. They're not as mobile as the Ghosts, but we'll see how it goes. I think Inno will be dropping that Ghost Academy in a moment. Yeah, there we go. Ghost Academy goes down. 4th base is going to move out. Inno in full turtle mode right now. Lurker run by attempt comes in, gets 3 shot by those siege tanks. Of course, +1 vehicle weapons almost done. 3-3 on the way there. About evenly timed for both players. Adrenal Gland starts up a 3rd Evo, so Solar's going to start going into things like maybe Ultraling Bane Tech. The Roach Hydra Ravager, not really the most efficient units, but going to be using those to open up the rocks. The creep is now spreading everywhere. The 5th base did get cancelled earlier, so there's a new 5th in the top that will start mining gas and banking that up. The Ghost production starts, 3 Ghosts at a time here. Inno will be maxing out soon with a higher quality army than Solar's. And this is going to be interesting to see where it goes, because neither one is making a big sudden play. For me, it feels like Solar's going to wait for Inno to move out to a 5th base. On this map, once you take a 5th, you get stretched out a little bit. You become, very, very hard. It becomes to cover all the distance, all the range between the bases. And it just generally is a sort of difficult situation that you can find yourself in. So, see exactly what goes on there. Spire going up in the main base. Triple Evo chamber on the way. We've got that hatchery in the bottom as well. Creep spreading out on all sides. And, okay, Bio's going to push forward here for Inno. Massive army. What's the lurker count at? 10 lurkers? That's not insane. 10 lurkers is really not that high. There's still 18 roaches in here. Solar's got to be wary of the fact that the density of his army is quite low. Not that many lurkers. Trading these roaches out is a very good idea. Just get rid of them. He's trying to replenish the creep already. Loses a few of his creep queens there in the middle. Let's take a look at Solar's control groups. Queens are on control group 0. He's got a little roach squad down the bottom, a run-by squad on 5. He's got lurkers on 3. He's got a move army, Ravager, Roach, Hydra, Overseer on 2, and Vipers on number 1. Going to be giving the most care and attention to those Vipers by the looks of things. The lurkers do siege up. Watch out for those ghosty snipes, though, at the same time. Watch out for the abducts. Abducting Ghost, not a bad play at all. And Fire is still branching around. Spires are finishing up right now. Marine Marauder going to start to clear the creep. Both sides waiting for the other to make a big poo-poo. And neither one dropping their trousers just yet. But, a little far out here. A bit of a brave engagement. Catches that Roach run by from the south. Solar is desperate to get rid of these low-quality units. And a few snipes do take out a couple Overseers. More rocks being cleared here by Solar. He's already cleared all the ones in the north, opening up these routes so that he can move around the map a lot faster. Ghost count continues to grow. We've got +2 vehicle weapons on the way. Remember that 3-3 is finished. I'd love to see building armor and whatnot come in since this is such a long game. But just many, many command centers going down for innovation. He's already at 3 orbitals, a command center, and a planetary fortress. But he's got 2 more on the way. The bio pulls back. There is some tank cover. And those roaches and hydras pulling back. Where are the snipes? I really feel Inno could just be sniping so many of these units, and finally, oh my god, that's a lot of laser pointers. There's that moment where your entire army, Bob the Roach turns to Daryl the Hydralisk and says, hey, there's a red dot on your forehead. Daryl's like, hey, there's a red dot on your forehead too, mate, and all of them get their faces blasted off. You've got to be careful. Fighting at that range, it's not very good. I think for Solar, He should be looking to create some more movement here. Maybe split the army in half. Oh my god, there's so many tanks. 15 siege tanks. It's got to be a Broodlord swap. It has to be a Broodlord swap. Okay, so... And Solar's one of the best in the world at this. We saw him in that series versus Maru. I mean, Solar is so good with Broodlords, but he's just going Banelings for now. So he wants the Speedbanes as sort of a quick response to deal with the Ghosts. The Ghosts run forward. Speedbanes are obviously able to get on top of them quickly and stop them from sniping. He's going to just chase after this squad in the north for now. He's obviously very focused. Yeah, Pathogen Glands, Infestors are a big part of the support. So for Solar, he doesn't like going to those Broodlords too quickly. So he's just saying, let's get some air upgrades, get Pathogen Glands, get some Infestors and Banelings, and then we'll make one round of surprise Broodlords. I'd imagine he'll probably make about 10 to 12 Broodlords, and he's going to try and just suddenly surprise and push in with them. And because Innovation isn't building any Vikings yet, he's going to be really weak against that. Don't get me wrong, Ghost can kind of deal with Broodlords, but there's a dance where Fungal, where Zerglings, where Banelings start to cause you a lot of trouble. If you take one big Fungal on those Ghosts, you can really end up in a very bad situation. Bank way bigger for Solar. Of course, he's had a lot more map control. He's up about 3,000 gas and 3,500 and about 3,000 minerals. Sorry, 4,000 minerals. Yeah, so very similar armies out on the map, but definitely, I think right now the potential is more there for Innovation to get efficiency than it is for Solar. Solar's Vipers have not really been finding anything. I think he could be a little bit more active, scouting with Overseers, Changelings, and just grab a tank here or there. I think there are opportunities, but he's not really been taking them. And I understand why. There's a roaming Ghost squad where if he overextends, he's going to get everything sniped. Innovation says, hey, I don't want these Marines anymore. They're poop. They're poopy units. Let's just send them in the main. He's going to try and run down... Oh, that was kind of a distraction. Look at this move. He cloaks all of his Ghosts. He dives deep on creep, snipes a bunch of Lurkers. The Marines in the main get dicked. They were just a distraction. Sir, why are our orders to fucking walk into their base and just fucking die? Like, obviously it's not going to work. He's like, well, you guys are just meant to pull their attention so that Ghost can do the work. Oh, being a Marine sucks. It sucks, man. He should be able to stop that nuke going off. Nice little nuke attempt. I mean, I love the play from Minnow. He says, look, there's Lurkers out here. If I distract in the top, hopefully the Lurkers stay in position, don't notice us walking up and sniping them all, which is a really cool attempt. But, yeah, mass orbitals now on the way. Ship weapons as well. I really like having a few Vikings out preemptively because they're good versus Vipers. They're great versus Broodlords. I don't know, man. The upgrades continue for Solar. He's rounding everything out. He's playing real patiently. If I was Solar, I might be a bit more eager to be mining out that base. One little burrowed roach is going to deny that base for a while. But here we go. Yep, get out of there, Reno. That command center needs to make a getaway, mate. There's not that many Hydras up there, actually. There's not that much that shoots up at all. So they can definitely damage that command center, but... Oh my god, Inno's like, oh, how many goddamn Changelings are there? Does not want to be giving free vision to Solar. That command center is going to go down more to tank splash damage than anything else. The command center in the top did go down at the same time. Ghost run forward on the south. A nuke does go down, and it does get taken out. Nicely done there by Solar. Denies the attempt for the 6th base from Inno. Ghosts come forward. Lings do try to counter that, but of course Ghost's more than a match. Has to pull back though now, knowing that there's a lot more units where that came from. And so good at hitting his upgrades is Solar. His air upgrades are getting there, whereas the air upgrades are very lacking for Inno. Inno has +2 vehicle weapons, +1 ship weapons. He's starting +3 vehicle weapons, but he still doesn't have any armor and no second armory being bothered with here. Lingbane's going to come forward. They'll take out a tank and a Ghost. They do cop a few snipes on the Overseers as well as a few tank shots. Ghost's going to start to nuke these Lurkers backwards. Solar actually moves forward, does take the Ghost out, but he loses a couple Lurkers onto the snipes and the tank shots. The answers are there. And Inno, each time he baits the Lingbane into the tank fight, it's kind of just a shame he doesn't have more tanks forward. He doesn't want to present them, of course, to things like Viper, Abduct, and Blinding Cloud, but I do think if he could inch a few more tanks forward, this would become even better. Units lost tab looking great for Innovation. 5,000 resources more have been lost on the Zerg side than the Terran side. So keep in mind, yes, the Zerg has more money to work with, more little mistakes, more inefficient fights that can happen. But over time, as the map mines out, unless you mine many more bases than the Terran, you're just going to run out of steam way sooner. So The Terran can play a much slower game. The Zerg is the one who has a little bit more urgency, as finally, I think we're going to see our first nuke of the match land here. Boom. Does clip a few of those units. Gets a drone, gets a lurker. SCV still trying to 1v1 the Roach War, and those SCVs, of course, being thrown away on purpose here. Oh, very nice. A Hydra and a Roach in the north denying that command center. Would love to be getting an expansion up while distracting in the south and getting good trades there. But just that single Ravager and Hydralisk are actually going to deal with that. The Queen does come out and kill that SCV. The SCV, unafraid, drills her a couple times before she bites his head off. Very much a praying mantis style love affair. Broodlords are coming forward on the south side. Vipers and Corruptors as well. The turret's going to hold him back for a moment, but where are those Vikings? It looks like he's not going to opt for them at all. When I've spoken to Cyril about this, Cyril said you absolutely want to have enough Vikings to one-shot those Broodlords. Otherwise, these Broodlords are just going to chip away at you all day. It's so hard to deal with just ghosts, and usually can't be done unless the Zerg makes a mistake. But Inno seems to be doubling down on this, and I do think those mistakes are much easier to find from the Zerg if you're massing nukes. The problem is, I think he's still only got 2 Ghost Academies. Oh my god, the mistake we were talking about. Mass snipe comes forward, and so many Broodlords go down. Oh, does he overstay though? I think Inno may have overstayed a little bit. He loses a couple of ghosts there, but he gets a lot of the Broodlords. That was very well done, and this is why you can't be caught sleeping. You've got to have lurkers. You've got to have Lingbane. You've got to have infested. You've got to have something there covering your Broodlords at all times. Because Innovation, his whole game here is clearly just make unbreakable positions spread across the map, very slowly, carefully expand, and then run forward every now and then and hope you're not looking and snipe all your shit. Keep in mind, though, his ghosts are kind of shit for the next few minutes while they regen energy. That is what I'm talking about with the weakness of ghosts, is often you can go for those moves, and especially if you only got a few Broodlords there, but you cloak them all, you use so many snipes, you use so much energy, and then it's kind of like, well, give me a few minutes before I can go again. It's a low cardio style of Terran versus Zerg. It's you don't really have the ability to just go toe-to-toe for the whole time. Uh-oh. I mean, there's actually not that much there. Marauders and tanks, yeah, without even sieging, can deal with that. Where's the mobile army from Solar right now? He's got 11 Broodlords on the south. They need to come to the north right now. Inno's army is just cracking on forward, and those Hydras are all going to go down, as will those Spine Crawlers. He's trying to build just 42 Lings. He's going to make Banes as well, no doubt. The Broodlords are making their way north very slowly, but already going to have taken a fair bit of damage. Good job on hiding the drones. That could have been worse, I think. Nice job clearing the creep on the way out as well. There's still one little schlong just sticking its way forward in the middle of the map, but gets most of those units out of there. There's still 13 tanks alive, 23 ghosts as well. Didn't use much ghost energy on that attack. They are slowly regaining their energy. Remember, a ghost with 75 energy, that's turning cloak on, using one snipe, and already cloak's turned off, and you're done. The ghosts need to have 120, 130, 150, preferably 150 to 200 energy to properly be using both cloak and multiple snipes in an engagement. Lings come forward. They kill a few of these units. I mean, these are efficient Zergling trades for sure. Ghosts come forward. Oh, man, where are these infestors? They come forward way too late and just whiff some fungals on the ground. Another cancel on that hatchery on the north. The Marine Marauder looking good. Lots more Broodlord Corruptor being made. I feel like we're going to have to go into some Vikings. I don't know if just Ghosts are going to do it. If he wants to stick with this, I'd love to see Inno drop 4 or 5 Ghost Academies. Oh, gets a few snipes on the Morphing Broods. He gets 2 Morphing Broodlords. Remember, most of that cost gets refunded, so it's basically just like killing a Corruptor, and he does lose 3 Ghosts for it. So it's not necessarily the most amazing trade. However, overall, still not 2-to-1, but a little better than 3-to-2. That's good enough. A 1.5-to-1 efficiency is damned good. It's a little better than that for Innovation right now, as he does have this base in the north established. More and more command centers building at all times. Tanks starting to move forward on the south side. He's got to be careful to not throw away all of his siege tanks, or he can't really push through the lurkers. Tanks in the north are going to get cleared up there as well. These units moving forward. Drilly Boys going for the Roach War in round 17. Tanks in the south getting jumped on. Zerglings looking very good against tanks on their own. I would have loved to see a few of these tanks survive, because I do think they produce such a great pushing ability. Now the Marine Marauder will just stim forward and try to take out those lurkers. Nice pullback by Solar. Would have liked to see him pull back a little more, in fact, as those Broodlords do come through the middle of the map. Oh, okay, lands an EMP. Only gets 2 of the Infestors as well as 1 of the Vipers, though. And I don't know, man, where is that ghost count? They're still back there. They're waiting for their opportunity. He's still just building Bio Ghost Medevac. And I like this move from Minnow. Avoiding fighting the Broodlords head on, and he's just chipping away at the sides. Rotate into the south, do some damage. I'd love to see his next attack already be heading across the map through the north, because he knows that army's coming south. If these guys pick up and boost across the north, there's an open base up there. He actually pulls back and preserves this one, which is really nicely done. And he's building some Thors. Interesting. He does have +3 vehicle weapons. I'd love to see armor for the medevac's sake, for the Thors, for the tanks, for Vikings if they do come out. A nuke is going to go on that top base. Very nice there. He does have 2 of them. Remember, still 2 Ghost Academies. Does he keep those control grouped, by the way? What a noob. He's just like me. Doesn't control group his Ghost Academies. I eventually did start control grouping my Ghost Academies, funnily enough. It took me a long time of just jumping to a base and clicking on them to do it. Oh, okay, Parasitic Bomb lands on a medevac, but that one actually dies almost immediately. Snipes go down. He actually gets a few of those infestors from the low ground. Got to be careful, though. That's a good angle for the Broodlords. They're very happy to fight there, and they're going to take out a few of these ghosts with ease. Marine Marauder in the middle of the map. Banelings say no. But more Marine Marauder there. There's not enough Lingbane to deal with it. The ghosts come forward, and they land EMPs on most of the infestors, but a whole bunch of the ghosts get taken out. Where are the snipes? He does get a bunch of snipes down. Not as many as I would have liked to see, though. You got to be so quick with those snipes. And, oh, Scan! Scan, kill the drones, kill the drones, kill the drones. I don't think saw them burrow. He wasn't watching. Oh, he's going to use a nuke to try and zone out that army. That's an interesting nuke. I don't even know who's calling that down. Oh, there he is, up there on the top right of our screen. Okay, fair enough. Well, just going to create a little bit of zoning there, making sure the Broodlords can't quite come forward straight away. And fortunately for him, all those drones do survive, just shoveling some dirt on their heads and hoping they don't get noticed. Somehow their prayers are answered. Marine Marauder in the main is going to do pretty all right there into a corner. They are 3-3 Adrenal Zerglings, though, and holy shit, 3-3 Adrenal Zerglings. When the Marauders are behind the Marines, drastic difference in the fight. More SCVs being thrown away by Innovation, who's going to be going to a Hypermax. Solar's still on 60 workers, whereas Innovation on 40. He, of course, has replaced many of his mineral mining SCVs with mules at this point. He's the one with a massive lead in the bank right now. But there is a fleet of Broodlords backed up by Infestors and Vipers, which he has not yet dealt with. A nuke is being called in on the south side. We're keeping an eye on this right now. And I think that's going to land. This SCV doesn't give a shit. He hugs the nuke. He says, "Don't worry, I put on my sunscreen!" And does lure a few Zerglings down as well. Okay, so how much resources we got? That base a little bit, that base a little bit, this base pretty fresh. Needs to secure that base, keep his mining up. This base is going to get mined out for Solar. As long as does eventually secure that base, he'll be good on the income. Okay, he's got to get back. Do not engage into that many Broodlords. That is still 17 Broodlords. They will dick any of these units very, very hard. And long Broodlord style is what they like to say. They're going to go forward and look for a snipe on the base. Where's the ghost at? Now this is so dangerous. This is so dangerous what is doing. I mean, he's gotten away with it so far this game, but I really think it's only a matter of time till he gets punished. I think keeping 32 ghosts on one control group and moving them around like that is honestly, it is unconscionable. If you give a shit about the amount of taxpayer dollars that have gone into 32 ghosts, like, it's actually obscene. It's setting yourself up for failure. Likewise, I'd love to see Solar split some of those infestors off the control group. That's nice. Splits one to the south to help defend here, but dude, losing both bases on the south. Inno's movement is just so good, and he just keeps moving it, and he's retracting these armies. He's pulling them back. He's getting them out of there. But I mean, I just feel like you're never going to use 32 ghosts is what I was saying in one fight. How often are you going to use more than 10? 15 at the most on a control group. Leave the rest in reserve or something like that, I feel. Same thing with the infestors. I think 9 is way too many on a control group. I think the others should just be split and left behind. Kind of like people do this in PvT all the time, where there's a few random High Templars spread around their bases, or just kind of like spread behind their army a screen or two. So if you do get EMP'd in a clump, it doesn't ruin you. You can pull back and you've got reserve spellcasters to keep you alive. But I think both of these guys are playing a very dangerous game with just 33 ghosts on a control group, walking around, 32 and a medevac, constantly moving on creep. I mean, the good thing is he's being cautious with them. He realizes it's dangerous. But right now, the drops have been getting value. Banelings keep having to be used, and Banelings just aren't the most efficient way to deal with that. Tries to lure the Broodlords into a nuke, but a bit ambitious there. Does not find the mark. Remember, it is still just Ghost Marine Marauder. And that's 20 Broodlords with a lot of Infestors behind it. 1 or 2 good Fungals, and this is just not an answer to what Solar has. As I've said, having no Vikings, having nothing to kind of bait the Corruptors forward to dance with them, it's really about, kind of catching Solar and getting EMP on every single Infestor. Mod Command Centers do fall. Gets a Broodlord, gets a Brood. I like this. Just go forward with a few. Gets a Viper, gets a few Broods, loses 1 or 2 Ghosts. That's okay. That sort of trade he can take. Lands an EMP on a single Infestor, but it's hard for him to properly engage into this. And I mean, more Thors is even something I'd be thinking about going if I was him. I'd be like, anything that can like stand its ground, maybe. Oh, he sees the Infestors pull back, so he runs forward. Good! That's what I'm talking about with the EMPs. Innovation with some great EMPs, and because Solar didn't have them spread out, he's got 3 Fungals left. Luckily, those didn't get clumped. Look out! Innovation goes way too deep there. Way too ambitious. The Pervert Overseers and the Fungal does take a few of them out, but at the same time, in the north, the Marine Marauder Thor is still, that's winning the game. He doesn't have an answer to the Broodlords directly. He doesn't need to, because Solar does not have an answer to the pushes. And honestly, I think as we get to sit here in our high chair and look at this and go, Yes, I said a high chair, because I'm somewhere between an umpire in tennis and a child watching the parents who are much better than him at StarCraft, actually play the game. But I get to backseat nonetheless, just like a child. So I think he needed to spread some Lurkers across his bases and keep replenishing Lurkers, because the way Inno's been doing these run-bys, I do feel a little bit more Lurker rebuilding would have been fantastic. Now, Inno's Ghost coming in from the south! Oh! 1 Fungal lands, but it only gets 3 of the Ghosts. The army on the north does start to take a lot of Broodlord shots, but keep your eye on those Ghosts. And Solar coming in. He needs to win with this army, basically, because he is out of cash. Those Ghosts do not fight. Put a nuke there and run away. Put a nuke there and run. I might even put it on the rocks, actually. Like, really, he's got to be so careful. I don't know if Inno has the numbers to overwhelm this. Actually, there's like 1 Fungal. With only 1 Fungal, I think he'll be okay, but those Ghosts are getting cornered. He's got a giant spready coming in from the north, but the Ghosts are kind of stuck behind. 3 Lurkers coming. If those Lurkers burrow Lurkers, the Lurkers a little slow to the burrow. Is it going to be enough? The Ghosts are getting annihilated by those 3 Lurkers. Oh my god, the Broodlords are absolutely dicking him. Solar just fudged Innovation up so hard in that fight, but he has no bank to speak of, so it doesn't matter. There's no Ling Bane reinforced. There's no support. It's just Broodlord Corruptor, and yes, the Corruptors are killing the Medivacs, but because he never built Vikings, the Corruptors are like, we killed your Medivacs, and that's all they've done. An incredible fight by Solar there. Still, over 10,000 resources lost behind, and I mean, he did a great job of getting rid of the Ghosts, but like, it was literally just a spread of Marine Marauder Thor that he struggled to deal with, and now he's just got Dregs, and even though this looks hopeful for Solar, I really think he should be dead from here. 6 Broodlords. I mean, he can keep making Broodlords on the front, but he's so low on gas. That's the problem. He's got, what, a little bit of mining. If he puts back on that gas, he might be okay. There's mass mule dropping, so the income for Inno should still be good. He's going to launch a nuke right here. Just a defensive nuke, and what's he building? Thors, Marines, Ghosts. So he's just going to try and gather up the defenses. I would have loved to see some Vikings, as I kept mentioning, because Vikings can go forward and fight the Corruptors, and when the Corruptors come forward, you can snipe them. So the Vikings are kind of like a, they're like a ghost pump, to make the ghost range a little bit bigger. Because the Ghosts struggle to skirmish with the Broodlords, they have to come close enough that then if there's Infestors or Banelings, they So they were trying to run back down here, and they ended up getting cornered behind the buildings. But if you had the Vikings kind of fighting further forward and skirmishing backwards, I really do. I don't like a lot of Vikings, don't get me wrong. When I see someone build 20 Vikings versus Broodlords, which I've seen Maru do a bunch of times, I kind of vomit a little bit. I'm like, okay, 20 is too many, man. Like, 1 Parasitic Bomb Fungal combo, and you're crying your eyes out. But yeah, I mean, he actually did just get rid of this top base. Is very low on mining. He's landing commands, and there's no resources there. Solar's making Ling Bane, which is such a budget kind of set of units. I don't know, man. I don't know if Ling Bane is going to do it. I understand Marines and Ghosts. Like, it's good against that. Solar's hanging on. He's not going to give up without a fight. So he's trying to long distance mine himself. He does give up this base in the south. Let's do a unit check. Right now, there are 8 Broodlords, soon to be 9, 12 Corruptors, 7 Banelings, 45 Zerglings, an Infestor, and a Viper. This is going to be going head-to-head with 19 Ghosts, 56 Marines, a Marauder, 8 Medivacs, and 5 Thors. I would definitely feel like that Terran army wins there, but you never know. The Lings are going to look for it hitting the production right now. Get back up your ramp, Innovation. Oh, we might get a full base trade going if he doesn't get behind that wall. Yeah, okay. See, we'll get behind the wall. He's still got a little bit of minerals coming in. I like this. Inno's going to land that command center there and snatch up these minerals with mules. And even just an extra 1,000 minerals, an extra 20 marines would be huge in this game. Of course, banelings as well as fungal. Very good versus the marines, but there's only 2 fungals available. And as we said before, 7 banelings. This army's going to try and extricate itself, trying to get out. The other units are going to come over to try and reinforce this. He sees the armies coming for him. He's going to try and drop mules and defend this base potentially as Inno. You don't want to get too attached to any certain piece of ground. You've got to be careful. Now, he's got 4 Thors actually with +3. They don't have any armor though, so they will crumble. Blinding Cloud nicely used there, but the snipes, the Marines coming forward. A big, juicy fungal landing on everything, but the Ling Bane just evaporates to the Marines, and just like that, whoo, Inno takes map number 1. Taking game 1 in style up here in the top left of map 2 on Death Aura. It's going to be Innovation. And his opponent in the bottom right in the blue, it's Solar. I think Inno would have been very happy after finding those 15 drone kills after it was initially scouted, and the Blue Flame Hellions were not looking too good. But definitely worked out. Of course, the double factory tank production, definitely very solid at holding on against lurkers and roaches and the like. A little surprised neither player went for a big push for a long time in the mid game though. So definitely a bit of an awkward situation. And Innovation, I do think, went way too heavy on ghosts. As I said, split the ghosts up. And the thing is, even in a situation like that last engagement, imagine this. So think this through. Imagine if Innovation had split his ghosts into 2 squads of 16. And where the Marine Marauder came in from the north, he also had 15 ghosts up there, as well as 15 from the south. It's going to be so hard for a Zerg to stop getting sniped from 2 different sides like that. But when the ghosts all clumped up, remember those lurkers ran forward and burrowed on them? Oh man, I think that was a huge issue. So I used to play back in the mass nuke. There was a period where a lot of us were massing nukes against Zerg. King's Cove, Innovation versus some of the best Zergs in the world. Cyril included, I believe. Some of you would remember some of those matches. Maru versus Scarlet, where it should have been a draw, I think it was, right? But then Maru just like left the game because he thought he'd lost, right? Was it Maru Scarlet? I think it was a Maru Scarlet match. I can't quite remember. But there was a whole period where a lot of people were just massing nukes, and Innovation actually was leading the charge. He loved mass nukes. He was so good at it. I would have liked to see more nukes in that last game and a little bit less commitment to such an obscene ghost count. And the one reason why you want that many ghosts is you can kind of spam a whole shitload of snipes, and you've got so many extra ghosts in reserve that, you know, they've still got energy, but definitely something you got to keep an eye out on. I doubt we'll end up in the same scenario, though it is the exact same opening for Innovation. One of the most standard openings right now, and because so many Terrans are going for this, there definitely has been a little bit more popularity, especially amongst the lower of the top Korean Zergs, so your Armanis and so on, who like to maybe make some Ravages and Lings and run across the map and just try to kill you. And you'll see people are getting really good at keeping their Zerglings up here, trying to stop the Reaper scouting, trying to keep it a little bit ambiguous, because these Hellions come out so damn late. Extra creep tumor goes down. The Zerglings come forward to protect those tumors. Nice solid 3 hatchery opening. 4th queen and 5th queen starting so early for Solar. Oh wait, sorry, that's Overlord speed. Okay. I saw the bar going and I was like, whoa, that's an obscenely early 5th queen. Like, that's crazy. He hasn't even finished saturating 2 bases. But no, this is the OV speed opening again. Doesn't want there to be any surprises. Now, I say exact same opening, exact same in terms of the 3rd command center, but actually does go for the standard follow-up in terms of a quicker starport rather than that second factory, but no safety precautions. So Innovation, clearly, with that limited bit of scouting, sees the Queen putting multiple tumors down. He feels safe. He doesn't feel threatened right now. And he is not building the safety Banshee. He's just going straight Viking, and he's already starting Stim. We expect a very quick second and third barracks, and I think, honestly, if I'm Solar, I'm pissed off. I don't like this situation because I've invested in Overlord speed. This guy's been the greediest shit of all time. And he's not even building a safety unit. He's like, lol, just building a Viking. He's actually going to build a medevac. So I think we're probably going to see a Hellion drop to follow up that Viking. And yeah, next things will be second and third barracks. He'll double engineering bay up here probably. And get right up into big Stim Marine pressure. And depending how much he keeps up the Hellion pressure, there is always the option for an armory coming in at some point and Hellbats being added. Now, for now, these Hellions are just posturing around Solar. Of course, you'll notice his Overlords are mostly pulled back into rather conservative positions. He left that one a little far out, so his Queen's got to get up there to defend that. With OV speed, it should get out of there. It'll take 2 more volleys, so the Viking does give up. But this pushes back Solar's vision into his corner of the map. Ling tries to run in. 3 Marines take it out, so not too much info on exactly what the follow-up is here. But, of course, he knew about the 3rd Command Center, did Solar. So he's going to go quick 1-1 upgrades. He's completely skipped out on the Baneling Nest. His layer's quite late. This is a big, super economy build from Solar right into the 4th hatchery. But Hellion drop tries to come in. Great response. And you can see how well he planned that out. The Viking came in, cleared the Overlord vision back, and then the Hellions came in just after that. And he's still maintaining a bit of Hellion pressure on the front as well. Queens come forward and they do drop a transfuse, keeping that Overlord alive. Really great poking and prodding, and what's more impressive when you look at these top tier Terrans is they look for the big damage. If the opponent's ready, they just cleanly disengage, preserve all the units to fight another day. It's really very frustrating when you are a Zerg and you play against a Terran who's like just better than you, because you're like so used to the players just throwing the units away. You're like, yes, I'm ready. Ha, I get to shut this down. And they just pick up and leave, and they come back a minute later and you're like, fuck off, dude. Because look at this, Solar, a gap in his awareness, a gap in his defenses, didn't notice this coming back in, and the second wave gets more lost mining time. Only 1 drone. You might be like, well, yeah, it was still well defended. It was, but they're still here, and they're still causing trouble while Innovation is doing an incredibly macro-focused build behind it. So just great execution from both players. Solar, of course, is not letting any big damage go down. His creep's getting out there. That fast 4th hatch is something every Zerg player feels very good about. Baneling speed is on the way. Now, that's a very late Baneling speed for Solar. He does not like to play with a late Baneling speed. He much prefers that to be out very fast. Solar has been traumatized by taking engagements with slow Banelings into Bio Tank, and he doesn't enjoy it. So, luckily, his Baneling speed should be ready, though. By the time this push gets in his face, only 50 seconds till Bane speed is done, so I think he should have it done in time. Macro hatch is on the way as well. Solar does not have a 5th hatchery on the way. Notice he is missing a few gas geysers across these bases as well. He's more mineral than gas focused right now. And actually, wow! Nicely done. He's going to get every single Hellion and Reaper. His Queens can go there and respread the creep. And as long as he has enough Ling Bane to hold this back, which he should be able to, he's going to be good. Just 20 seconds, 29 seconds until Bane speed finishes. His Lings see the Marine tank coming forward. These tanks are going to be able to set up in a conservative spot and try to delay creep. But picks up and actually boosts into the main base. The Ling Bane, what is it doing out there? Oh, still got a lot of Lings out in the middle of the map. I think he was getting ready to flank this. Inno's going to siege in the main? Okay, that's just silly. This got spotted by a Zergling. For Inno to siege those tanks is absolutely ridiculous. He should unsiege and leave immediately. To have stayed this long was a really bad decision. Just when I was complimenting Innovation on saying, hey, the opponent's ready, let's not commit to that, he commits to a really ill-fated push. Which, when you've been spotted before you've even picked up, that's just a no-no. That's just a... When is that ever going to work? So I'm really disappointed that Innovation threw those tanks away because that was his defensive power. Now securing a 4th base becomes a little bit of a conundrum. All he's got essentially is Marines, a single tank, and Marines and medevac. So he's going to hope that Solar doesn't come in with a big bust on his 4th or he could actually lose it. Swapping into Widow Mines off 2 factories, getting up 3 more barracks. He's going to go into that. We've got 8 Marines coming towards the main. Vikings still alive on the left side. Now this is of course a much lower risk drop, not sieging up tanks or anything like that. Banelings do connect though. Does save 4 of those Marines. Solar takes a 5th base. His Lurker Den is well underway, but where is that hive? Hive is very important in this scenario, and Solar, of course, distracted by those drops, does delay his hive a little bit as he queues up a drop on the left side of the map. I think he's going to put these Zerglings in. It looks like a minivan ready to fill up. And Queens are going to try and hunt down that little drop on the top right as well, trying to get rid of innovation from his territory. The double drop on the left, though, might find a snipe on his 5th hatch, and that would be a bummer. 2-2 going to line up for both players as the double drop comes in. Zergling's pretty quick to respond. Widowmine, of course, decides to shoot at the friendly Marines. Innovation there, showing some slippery butterfingers, unable to just select on the medevac with those Marines. You could tell he misclicked it 3 or 4 times in a row. And I'm sure a few swear words may have been muttered under his breath as he fumbled that. It's not a big impactful thing. It's just one of those things that pisses you off and can throw you off a little bit as a Terran player. Fumbling a hot pickup a few times in a row. It's not something you want to have happen now. It's leaving a few Marines and mines behind there. 5th Command Center is on the way. Big mega macro play and a 3rd factory here. I do like this. The Zergling minivan will unload in the main base, forcing Innovation to respond to that. Of course, it is just 8 Marines. It's a minivan. Like I said, it really is telling your kids to go and you know, try and key your neighbor's car. It's not going to actually damage him or affect his livelihood or anything, but it's just annoying, and that's exactly what the Zergling minivan is all about. It's a low-cost investment. I guess if it was real life and you were sending your children to key somebody's car, you'd probably be a little bit more worried about them, you know, getting punched in the face, but since they're Zerglings and Solar is a Zerg player, he really does not give a shit. You know, he's a bad parent, essentially. Does still load up those drops. They're still doing something. I like this, just 0 risk pressure from Innovation. All he's losing is a few Widow Mines, the occasional Marine or 2, and he's just making things hard for Solar. And I tell you, as a Zerg player, this is very annoying because you don't really have a way to shut it down with this style. It's too much dead space on the edges, but that Viper is going to be the end of this. Banelings and Hydras on top of that in the main, and that Viper will start abducting those into the Hydras. Now, if they're far enough back, a single abduct might not do it. On the left side, the Marines still looking to bait that Ling Bane into the Widow Mines, and this is all about Innovation, saying, look, I don't have that many macro tasks to do. I'm going to use my APM to push back your creep and to try to waste your attention, to constantly distract you, to disrupt you. Because if you don't look and you just A-move that, he does pick up, and you do lose 50 Zerglings and 10 Banelings to 2 Widowmine shots. He's going to go for the Parasitic Bomb. Split. Full medevac does go down. Those 2 are going to try to come in and drop now. And they're going to go down. So Innovation losing this drop. Now that the Viper's out, there's actually a way to shut it down, which is very important. But tanks are moving forward on the left. That's a lot of tanks. Zerglings see it. At the same time, Solar's running down the top right. He's got more than enough Banelings to bust it, but he's going to lose this base if he does so. The Lurkers, though, going to buy him some time. Seismic Spines is done. Those are 10 range Lurkers. No longer are they 8 range. And these 2 command centers go down, as well as all the SCVs in the top right of this map. Oh, that Lurker does burrow. The siege tank shelling on that hatchery. The minivan's still just idling there in the main base of Innovation, but it doesn't have anything inside it. 4 more Zerglings come over, and Innovation, trying to be greedy and rebuild on location, gets punished. Just a little squad of Zerglings ruining Inno's day. Bit of bio gets left behind in the bottom left side of the map. Medevac pulling back as well as this Viper comes forward. We've got the tank bio up there. Oh, the Blinding Cloud bugging out the bio a little bit. A little slow on the siege. The Banelings just coming in through the middle of those siege tanks, and a good fight for Solar. A good series of fights here. Solar finds himself in a very nice position. His army is now able to dictate the pace, and Innovation has a small squad on the right. And I tell you, they better hold the pass, man. They better take inspiration from a certain 350-pound man who carries a little Game of Thrones kid on his back, because they got a fucking hold, man. Oh, thankfully for him, Solar comes in like a bunch of disorganized zombie morons, and that does actually mean he holds initially, but I think if Solar just rotates his army to the right, he can take that base out. And if you lose your 5th on this map up here against this 6-base Solar, it's going to be really hard to get reestablished. Even right now, Solar almost could maybe just siege on that base. The tank count's much lower than he'd like it to be. But Innovation weathers the storm for this moment. Really needs to get that planetary erected. And the problem is this creep. Look at this. Solar has so much control over the map now. And Innovation's blind. He doesn't know where he's coming from. He's got sensor towers up, which will give him a little bit of warning. But look at that. He's like, oh, shit, they're here. You know, that little bit of warning is not really enough. The Lurkers just one-shot an entire clump of bio. That tank tries to siege. Gets a snipe off. Does manage to siege the tank, thankfully. That one siege tank, very important. But he's losing everything on that command center. And that's what I said he could not afford to do. It's so hard to establish a 5th on this map. Your 4 base is so turtled up and so safe. But your 5th, oh man, your 5th base is so out there. And as a Terran, once you lose that big fight that gives up the momentum, you don't have that same turtle up comeback power you might have on some of the other maps. And Solar, this time, dominates the 2nd map and ties up the series. All right. Game number 3. It's all going to be decided here on Pillars of Gold. In the bottom left, representing Kaizi Gaming, it is Solar. In the top right, representing Kaizi Gaming, it's Innovation. So this map's a bit more of a smaller size than Death Aura, I would find. A little bit more of a pushy push map, similar to what we've seen, of course, on map 1 on Lightshade, though. In that case, the blue flame into double tank opening meant that it was a very easily, very strong defensive Innovation, not being very aggressive. Solar, forced into roaches against the blue flames, then going to Lurkers, also very defensive, not very aggressive. So I'm hoping to see more of a Bio versus Mutiling Bane game here in this final deciding match. 16 hatch. It's going to be the 18 gas and the 17 pool from Solar. Interestingly, Solar doesn't rally his eggs out. Most people would rally the eggs. That to the gas, that to the pool. But he's not taking a gas. Oh, okay. He's going to do the delayed gas opening. He's also sent a drone out to check for proxy barracks. Innovation purposely stands his SCV where a bunker would go. He's trying to freak out Solar right now. Oh! He even builds a bunker! Oh, he wants to freak Solar out so bad. Solar only pulls one more drone, though. Oh, Solar realizes that he's like, nah, I don't think this is real, man. With a cute little fake out there, I think he saw a drone go out past the SCV scouting. He saw another drone. He's like, Solar's so paranoid about getting proxy barracks. Let's, fake him out even more. Thankfully for Solar, he keeps cool, does calm down, gets through it. Does start a command center behind this. Slightly delayed. Went down, about 5 seconds late because of that bunker and the earlier SCV out of the map, but not too bad. Reaper is now out. Marine on the way as well, heading across the map. Solar, as I said, has had a lot of problems against proxy barracks plays recently, so he's been scouting everywhere for those. Now, with this later gas, you're going to see that he's just kind of been focusing on minerals because he wants to start a 3rd hatchery here on 28 supply. He's built a 27 Overlord. Supply blocked on 28, but that's because he's saving minerals for the hatchery anyways. The 3rd hatchery goes down. He has lost 1 Zergling. That's all so far. And that Reaper does come on in. Puts a creep tumor down. We've got that queen up in the main as well. 3rd hatchery is on the way. Link speed starts up now. And leaving 2 on gas, we're going to see Overlord speed again. Solar playing so safe in this series. And it's interesting to see not a single game have we seen Solar say, you know what? I don't need perfect info. Let's just play a well-run start. So he seems to be saying, I'm always, this is the opening I'm most comfortable with. Terrans are doing tricky bullshit. I want to adapt to what they're doing. So I'm going to be going Overlord speed one more time. I don't know. I wonder if he'll go back to that attempted Queen Ravager Ling from game. Creep is spreading. 2 tumors on the front. This Queen does join the frontal squad as well. In the early game, Solar actually puts his creep/defense queens on number 1, interestingly. Zerglings on number 2, and his injecting queens, aka just this queen in the main right now, are up on that 0, which actually, I'm pretty sure Solar's told me what he's actually put that on. So I'm going to very quickly check that on my second monitor. As there's a little bit of downtime, we're going to open up my DMs with Solar and see if I can find exactly what he told me there. hounding pro gamers about their weird little mechanical techniques. One of my favorite things to do. And he actually never answered. He said he uses almost completely standard hotkeys. So actually knowing Solar, that might actually be on control group 0. Because Solar is like a real weirdo, where he actually uses the right side of his keyboard a lot. So yeah. I went and looked through my answers. He said, I use almost completely standard. I don't know about other pros, but basically it is just the standard hotkey setup. And for most, yeah, I asked him, oh, really? You don't use tilde, W, caps lock? He said, nope, don't use any of those keys. And I was like, oh my. Solar's not exactly the most efficient of players. You got to remember that a lot of the golden age of StarCraft in Korea came up during the period of time when it was Brood War. You couldn't customize your keys. So everyone figured out the best ways of using the keyboard with those uncustomizable keys. And because there was so much money, attention, so many multiple TV channels in Korea broadcasting StarCraft every day, so much money, I don't feel like the Korean scene ever fully evolved past that in the mechanics level. A few of the players have customized and added their own little details over the last 3 or 4 years especially, but not that much. But for now, guys, that's a giant Hellbat Marauder attack. This is hitting really slow, though. 5 minutes 30? This does not feel that crisp from Innovation. Only 2 Marauders in here as well. They do have Concussive, though. Of course, they are tagging this one Queen on the left. Zergling's coming in from behind. The Medevac gets focus fired. More Hellbats rallying. It's just so much meat for Innovation, though. So much meat. A Zergling run by tries to get in, but the wall is up. Oh, wow. He's getting way too much damage done. Solar skipped that Baneling Nest once again. He had double Evos on the way. He was way too greedy, and Innovation catches him out with this. Remember, he went Overlord speed, but he did not see the armory in the back of the natural, and that is such a bummer for Solar, because now Innovation does big damage. He kills all the queens. He wipes 7 queens off the map. And if you are going to play without the Baneling Nest, you really do need to go 10 queens by default. And you've got to save energy for transfuse if there's any chance of big Hellbat timing. But Solar had spent far too much energy on many creep tumors going out. Didn't have all of his queens at the front. No Spine Crawler, no Baneling Nest. And so it's so hard. And even now, in the follow-up, he's going to lose even more mining time on this base. I mean, the Hellbats can't really close the distance with those drones and lings. They are slowly dying. But it's just so annoying to have to deal with this. And the Hellbat's going to try and grab a queen, pull her back. Solar a little slow on the pullback there. Very important to pull your queens back and spread them out when you are facing off against this sort of play. Hellbat gets surrounded there. Solar finally regains control of his side of the map, gets his drones back on mining. He does have a super well-timed 1-1. Fortunately, he was so distracted his lair was not on time, so his 2-2 won't be able to start immediately, but he should still have a small upgrade lead on Inno when all is said and done. Inno, though, up on workers with a 3rd orbital dropped. Mules are there as well. Creep has been pushed back. It is not that far out. Solar desperately trying to get a 4th base up, trying to re-drone, but he's going to have to dig deep if he wants to fight back because there's 5 barracks on the way. The reactor's up on the starport, which means we've already got medevacs hitting the field. Tons of Marines, and he's not done with the Hellbats just yet. Look at that. A lot of Hellions still out. He's never swapped the factory off. So he's going to go right on into Widowmine production, which means the Biomine Parade is going to be really early, and Solar is got to even deal with a big Marine Hellion pressure before that even happens. So, but, you know, I'd actually like to see him kind of split up, maybe do a Hellbat drop, do a bit of harassment here or there, definitely start to clear up some of this creep. Solar, on the other hand, I think has to just mass Ling Bane. He's doing it off 5 gas right now, massing Ling Bane, trying to squeeze some drones out on his 4th base. How do you get back from here, though? I think it's got to be off the back of Ling run-bys. I don't think Baneling run-bys are going to work out. For Solar, if he wants to do Baneling run-bys, it's got to be like 4 Banelings at a time. Really minimal. But if he can like squeeze 20 Lings across, maybe after his first defense, that would be great. He's sending Lings across right now. I don't know if he's got enough at home, though. Bane speed isn't quite here. And the queens are all coming down. Lings are going to hit that 3rd mineral line right now. There's nothing to defend it at this moment in time. Good micro on both sides. The Widowmine does get a shot off. The queens are forced to pull back. The Marines stim over. Zerglings disengage. Back on the front. Innovation still pushing on in. Those queens are very low on energy. Not too many workers dying on either side just yet. Only a few SCVs. It's a wounded mineral line, not a dead mineral line. Innovation preserves it. He's still got Widowmines up on the front as well. But Solar hangs on for now. I think he's got to escalate those run-bys. For right now, his Zergling count is just absolutely low. And Innovation's got him pinned back on the defense. You can't really let him be picking when and where these fights happen. So Solar's going into pure defense mode. Good Baneling hits there. And I'd love to see... Yeah, there we go. Zergling takes that one out. He's going to be able to clear up that Widow Mine. Unfortunately, blows 2 Banelings up on it. Banelings clear the depots as well. And maybe drag a Widow Mine. But doesn't actually hit any of the SCVs, so not a big deal. Innovation's pushing on the left side. Solar is desperately trying to hang on. He's got to dig deep right now, and it's going to be hard against a guy like Innovation who's so comfortable pushing multiple sides of the map at once. The Banelings try to spread, but a great hot pickup. Fantastic hot pickup by Innovation. Saves most of the Marines. So that's overall a very good trade for him. Look at the units lost tab. He's 2,500 resources ahead. He's got 2 forward positions on the map on both sides. Solar's going to try and take a 5th base in the midst of it. He's going to try to go Hydra and Infestation Pit. But I don't know how he's ever going to possibly make it there. And these Baneling run-bys are what I was talking about earlier. I disagree with them strongly. This is too much investment. I think he needs big Ling run-bys hitting the rally, maybe 2 or 4 Banelings hitting the mineral line at a time. But I think if he keeps rolling in 10, 12 Banes, it's going to be too expensive. Even if he clears that mineral line, it's the army deficit that Solar has to worry about in this scenario. Does clean up the Widow Mine, but not efficiently. Banelings getting there. And look at that. Innovation reacts quickly. Solar's only killed 9 workers this game, but he spent about 20 Banelings to do it. A bit of mining time is not enough against an Innovation who's got forward squads keeping you pinned in your side of the map. He's rock solid on his rally. Solar keeps trying to find something over there, but I don't think this is the right thing. I've seen a lot of Zergs make this mistake in this scenario recently where they keep trying to morph those Baneling run-bys. It's an easier run-by to control than Zerglings, but look at that drop from Inno. He pushes the right side. The right side actually gets cleansed with the acidic fire of the Banelings, just cleaning that one up. These Zerglings going to look for a little run-by on the natural, potentially. I'd love to see that there. It is still 5 base Solar versus 3 base Inno. I mean, if he could somehow hang on and stabilize, that would be great, but the drops are continuing. We've got Baneling run-by once again coming in to blow up the depot wall. I mean, this will supply block Inno, so that's something. He started 3 depots. He's already supply blocked, but he's going to lose 3 depots immediately. Now the Queen's over here on the left. Ooh, transfuses go down, but he already loses 3 Queens before. A lot of the Marines go down, but at the same time, a lot of SCVs do fall. Actually, I mean, I've been hating on these Baneling run-bys, but oh man, Solar's just so light on Ling Bane. That Widow Mine. Okay, he does finally get rid of it, but good focus fire there. More Banes do roll on in. Forced to pick up is Innovation. And the Zerglings take one for the team. 3 Lings going down for those Widow Mine shots, but that takes a lot of micro each time you do that. 67 drones versus 49 SCVs. There is no 4th command center for Innovation. He is just rallying biomine across the map. It's just pure marine mine. So Innovation is kind of all in here. He's actually doubling down on trying to kill Solar. Solar's building too many Hydras right now. He's on 10 Hydras. He's got to focus on the Ling Bane. That's what's going to keep him alive in these engagements. Hydra's really good for gunning down Widow Mines out of range, but they're upgradeless. They do not have any attack upgrades against +2, soon to be +3 armor Marines. They're not going to really cut the mustard. Not at all. No Overseer on this left side, sadly. He's making one right now, which should be joining up. Hopefully he can clear those Widow Mines before the redrop comes in. A giant army moving down the right side. It's just Hydra Ling on the way. The Baneling count very low right now. This is a dangerous moment. It's very easy under all this pressure to not remake enough Banelings, and Solar's going to need a lot of Banelings. That right side, this is what I'm talking about. He's only got 3 Banelings right now. Innovation is not afraid of that at all. He's able to stim on top. 1, 2, 3. He eats a Baneling, but he doesn't care because he's on top of the Hydra Ling. Without Banelings there, Solar, he looked like he was clawing his way back in this game. He does take out a few medevacs, but where are the Ling Bane? It's just not here. Hydras cannot really stand and fight with Marines, but he had a good concave. The Marines were wounded. He manages to push that back for now. But look, another army on the left side. He's got 6 Banelings and 8 Zerglings. That's not going to stop that giant ball of Marine mine. Innovation here, capitalizing on the damage from those early Hellbats. He has not let the momentum up. Not one bit. The Banelings and the Lings trickling in, but the Marine firepower is there. The Widow Mines always creating a danger zone for Solar. Solar's Hydras do come up here. They try to bring everything down on top of Innovation. Innovation stutter steps into Banelings multiple times in a row. He does caught 1 or 2 bad hits. He's got to pick up and leave, but at the same time, he is rallying across the map, and he just says, okay, pull back on one side, go in on the other. And Solar here, I mean, this is such a demotivating way to lose this series because he's fighting so hard and so well, but he's just got less material than his opponents. And it really does feel unfair when you take such a big hit like that from the Helvats early on, and the next 7 or 8 minutes are you just fighting from behind, trying so hard. But every single time he defends one side, Innovation pushes in the other. The Marines on the top left take out the 5th. They're on the 4th. The rally now waltzing through the middle of the map. And Innovation closes out the series. GG, well played. A spectacular display of TVZ.